Our presenting sponsor was Masters Gallery Cheese. We thank them very much, and all of our office staff and volunteers to put the exhibit together. And now I'll introduce Stephen Bauer, the chairperson for Wisconsin Visual Artists Southeast Chapter, and he will tell us a little bit more about the exhibit and talk to you about the judges for the awards.
Good evening. It's great to see a lot of people here. This has been a dream of ours for about, I think it was 2 years ago I first talked to Deborah about having a show here, and it's finally come to fruition. We were very excited about it. There's a little bit of history in this show in terms of coming up with what is this show going to be about. We like having themes for our shows in the Southeast Chapter. And we came up with Go Figure. And I had sort of an amusing little thing in my head about what that was going to be. And then we as a leadership team started talking about it like, there's something more here. And we came up with the whole idea of perplexity, confusion, surprise, and puzzlement. And it was interesting and exciting to watch how the artists all interpreted that and the work that you see in there tonight. And it's very exciting working with this group and watching them create art that is again, has some complexity to it. Sometimes it's confusing, but not necessarily in a bad way. Often has surprises in it, and I always like finding surprises in artwork. And then the puzzlement when you look at something and it finally all comes true. So what we did is, this show was a jury show, and we invited 2 people from the Southeast Chapter to jury this show for us. Mary Tilton and Jane Jackson, good friends of mine, but also wonderful artists in their own right, to experience the experience of jurying a show and then developing awards. And I'd like to introduce those 2 ladies to you now, who are going to share with you some of their thoughts as well as the award winners tonight.
I'll get to be first. I'm Jane Reed Jackson. We're from the South Central Chapter. I used to be the chair, and now Mary's the chair, and I'm her underling. My background is as a printmaker, and so I'm used to entering exhibitions all the time. And I'm normally not a huge fan of themed exhibitions, but I've come to accept their place in the world of the exhibitions, and I take on the challenge that it gives me to try to fit a pre-existing work into the theme presented. So I find that it helps me, I can hear myself now. I find that it helps me to see my own work as others see them, and from various perspectives. Go Figure as a theme is decidedly obscure enough that it's open to the various interpretations, which I liked, as Stephen mentioned. And so we were glad to see the many ways the artists could find to examine how their work would fit into this theme. We did our best to include all the expanses of that theme with an eye to the artist's handling and mastery of their medium and their skills in execution. We sought to be as inclusive as we could be, so we could give a platform to as many artists as we could. Being artists ourselves, we know that that's the most important thing, and to gain experience showing your work is one of the highlights. But ultimately, it all came down to what captured our eye and what drew us in.
Perfect. Well, she said everything I wanted to say, so there you go. It is just a real honor and a privilege to be here. I enjoy WVA so much because we do provide a platform for artists of all kinds, whether you're just beginning or whether you're very experienced. So it's really wonderful to get on the other side of a jury show and think about what it is that jurors really are looking for. And I think for us too, I think that the point of the theme and so on, so our selection was from a really wide range of expression. But also, every piece selected was intentional on our part that it conveys something. And I think that's just really what our selections speak to. The reason they were chosen, something to identify with, something to see clearly, and to acknowledge some truth. And that's the artist's truth. And that's where the basis of each piece has a voice. The way I look at this, and I see it now hanging in this gallery, this beautiful gallery, and excellently curated, by the way. Every piece uplifts the ones near it. But every piece has its own sense, whether it's luminance, whimsy, pattern, color, something in every piece speaks loudly, and that's the artist's hand coming through. All of that, and I think this is really the most important thing that I was thinking about when I think about being a juror. It's about the integrity. It's about the integrity of the artist putting themselves out in this world. That's just a real important thing, and it takes courage to do that. So congratulations to everyone who entered the show, every piece that was accepted. We're grateful for that. Every time you as an artist show your art, you uplift another artist. You encourage another artist to show their art. And we as artists need to understand it's not just about us getting our art out there, it's the world needs our art. And to see your voices. So what I guess I've learned is, learn of what the world sees in your art, either by asking a juror, why did they select it? Or finding a friend to tell you, what do you see in this art? But whatever you do, it has to be your art. You keep showing up and giving your voice to what you're trying to figure out. Go figure. So, what did I miss?
Well, one thing I can add is that if we try to, as I said, we try to be as inclusive with the show, and it was really hard to pick the award winners. We started out looking at JPEGs on a computer screen. We made choices based on that, based on the information we were given with those statements and sizes and things. But then we come here today we have kind of an idea of who would be the award winners, but seeing the actual pieces in person changed our minds in some ways, just because of the presence of the piece. And so I can tell you, as someone who enters a lot of exhibitions, that if your work is ever rejected, just believe in yourself, keep entering. I've had numerous pieces that no, I get rejections after rejections, and then I get a couple of acceptances, and then a work that has been rejected 10 times gets into a show and wins an award. So you just have to find that one person who is looking for your vision. So don't be discouraged.
And another thing, it's Jane and myself who did these selections, who did these awards. It's Jane and myself. Every one of you will have a different selection, I can guarantee it. And the one, I went to a show, an exhibition, and the judge, he had lots of things to say, none of which were relevant. He said one thing that was important. He was really happy as a young artist to get into a show. There was one juror, and he got all up beside himself and he's bragging it up, and a friend of his turned around and said, listen, one person liked your art. So, with that, it's Jane and I. This was what we were asked to do. We did our very best. But would you? Yeah, we wish we had more awards. We think there are more deserving awards than just the list we have. Okay. So, any questions, comments, things that we would like to know about us, I'm a watercolor artist, by the way. I don't get into shows because nobody likes watercolor. Okay. All right. No questions. Let's get on. Announcing the awards. We have 6 awards. First two are honorable mention, and our very first honorable mention goes to Gail Willard for Birth of His Blues. Gail is not here tonight. The next honorable mention, I was just going to say a little bit about why did we select them. Yeah, we did make some notes. I think with the Birth of His Blues, first of all, I love the title. And it really shows a combination of skill and materials selection, and selecting materials to say what it is that you want to say. That was really a cool feature. It's a 3-dimensional piece, so there's a lot of materials in it. Very interesting. It kind of is a little bit of a curation in and of itself, and it really tells a story. Okay, the next. Do you want to go?
You're doing such a good job.
The next honorable mention is for Roxanne Mayer's In Too Deep. There she is. Thank you. Congratulations. We selected this piece partly just because it's technically extremely competent, and this verticality, the composition, it has such presence. You see it right away, and it's not real colorful. It's not real wild. It's really understated, but it has presence. So that's the biggest reason. So now we go into the 3rd place award. The 3rd place awardee is Andy Dubert for Jane Says.
Tell us why for Jane Says, we know her. Everybody who's seen that, you know somebody who's like that. And in particular, from my point of view as a printmaker, there's just so much that's going on in that piece that you don't see. It draws you in, all the little marks going on, the color, it just spoke to me, and it was just very different from everything else that we had seen. And just her very humorous.
The whimsy really shows through, yeah. The 2nd place awardee is Erica Lambrecht for Lost and Found. There's Erica. Congratulations. That was a piece that just grabbed me from the minute I saw it in its small format, thumbnails format, honestly, to the larger size of the computer screen, and it lived up to itself in real life. There's just everything, the contrast, the color, the graphic element of it, and the sense of mystery, like, what is that? I don't know. I don't care. I like it. So that was great. 2nd place award is to, first we have a 1st place and then best, sorry. 1st place award is to Andrea Skyberg for Shell Shocked. This is the sculpture, yeah, the pregnant bill. I think this piece, it's all white. It's just, it takes such courage to use these materials in an unusual way, and that really stands out. But using it in a very simple way. It's a simple form. It's simple, but it's just so courageous.
And on that one, we would encourage you to read, there's a notebook in the room on a bench that has an artist's statement that pertains to the piece, and we would encourage you to read that statement in particular. It was just, the work translated well from the little computer screen JPEG into real life. There was no surprises with that one. That was one of our top picks.
And then finally, the Best in Show is, acknowledgement is for Time by Karen Britton. Is that Karen back there? Congratulations. We selected this piece, I think we both fell in love with it immediately, and it is really the emotional content. It is just, it's you know, again, you're looking at a computer screen and you're going and identifying and feeling something really strongly, even just there. And then when we walked in, of course, it's, you know, the first thing you see when you walk in, the technical competence is so high that, again, as an artist, I really respect that. And with that technical competence, didn't lose an ounce of emotion. So that's what we have to say about that. And I was looking at, I'm gonna keep looking at it. It's not colorful. It's even, she's even got green skin, but it's so touching. It's just a beautiful piece. Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody who received a recognition award tonight. Those will be posted online probably tomorrow. You will notice when you go back into the gallery, there will be little surprises next to each of those pictures. And we thank the team here at Plymouth for doing that. I also like to extend my deep gratitude and thanks to Mary and to Jane for their hard work. I've been in their shoes and it's not easy. And then the last thing that I would like to mention is that all of the work that's showing in that room is for sale. This is how artists make their money, is by selling their artwork. And so if there's something grabs you, think about it, because you could make an artist very, very happy if you bought their works tonight or sometime before the show closes in the end of April. So enjoy your evening, thank you for coming, and maybe we'll see you soon. I don't know how to